And in the left corner, we have Councilman Gunther, who took a beating last outing from Chris Moffett.
It should be rolling.
I thought it was the other way around.
Okay, call to order at 5:30.
And Lindsay's on the phone now too.
Any additions to the agenda?
Yeah, there is, under financials, number 5, 2019 audited statements. And I do have under new business, number 7, this came in 5 minutes before 5. If you want to review it. A garage going on to 101 Jean Street is being moved on, but it's going to be an accessory building and the house is not going to be there until next year, so you need an extension on that, and there's a variance on the side setback.
Okay.
A few things to it, eh?
All right.
Not too much.
Motion to accept the agenda as amended. Larry, all in favor?
Yay.
Carried. Minutes from the last meeting, errors, omissions, typos, punctuation, commas.
Just on the
It's
spot.
all good? Okay, motion to accept as presented. Doug,
Ready, everything
all in
ready to
favor,
sign
carried.
as we go.
Discussions?
And Doug, that was
Oh,
you.
something you wanted last week.
And if you don't have anything, sign, if you don't mind.
Sign corridor, any more people any more take-ups or?
A couple applications went out, but nothing has come back.
Okay.
I haven't sent out the invoice to Royce yet. That's really all I know there, but it looks like we might have to get a couple more scans out if the applications come back. I think it was 2.
They look very good. I just wish the one wasn't perfect.
I have a comment on that, even though we discussed that last week. I thought when we originally talked about that it wasn't get a deposit, Chris, it was actually get people to pay for the cost of the sign. That's what we had discussed.
The stamp.
You know, if it was $500 to make it, they pay for that, they own the sign, you know, and then it's theirs, and they pay $200 a year. That's what I thought we had originally discussed.
But wouldn't it be better to have it other than that first person and then he takes the sign?
I guess, other than with a deposit, we really don't ever get that money, that's fine, you know.
Okay.
Anyway,
Okay.
All right. I guess we'll go into, or any other discussions from the minutes from last meeting? And we see Larry in there?
go.
Okay. Lindsay, you're up.
Lindsay, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Didn't have a whole lot to report this week. Got out and repaired some of the roads, there's some washboards, but obviously the street off by the shop there that we added a bunch of gravel to, it's still there, but it'll take a bit to get rid of it. We've been doing some dust control, not a whole lot of mowing going on right now. I got a price from Maleron for a grader. They're $160 an hour. And if we were looking to get any like road gravel, like a crushed gravel, it's $8 a ton. And then their belly dumps are $160 an hour for it. And Watrous will only come and give us a hand if Maleron can't, or no one else that has a mower or a grader can come when we want it done or whatever.
Right.
But like, I don't know if anyone's seen the roads that I've done here recently with that pole behind one.
I've had some compliments.
I actually thought Melron had done the job already.
No. So I don't know. I think it's just a matter of time of getting out to do it. And we're getting into a time here that we can get out and do it, and we've been just watering it ahead of time just to keep the dust down a bit. And it seems to be working pretty good.
Have you got a few streets that you just can't shape with that pole behind one?
I haven't found anything yet.
Okay.
My biggest concern is with getting like Maleron or someone to come in is just gonna be like, if we have product on there, cause like even with that pole on, I'm digging up a lot of rock, like big rocks. That's my biggest concern. Like the few streets I have hit, we had to go out and pick rocks the next day on it, cause there's such big boulders laying on and I pushed them all to the shoulder.
Right.
Just to get them out of the way, but then we had to go pick them up because otherwise they're right in someone's driveway or
Yeah.
someone's gonna hit them with a mower or something. That's my biggest concern with getting a grader in right now. Until we figure out where the edge of our roads are, because there's a few roads that the public's kind of taking over the road. You can see from over time that everyone's kind of pushed their way out a little bit more and a little bit more, and the road's kind of got a curve to it.
I see.
So
So are you recommending just go as you go?
I think right now let's just hold off and just keep going with what we got until, because I'm getting some shape back to some of these roads. And I don't know, I did Roy Street, Winnipeg, Watrous, and John so far. And I'm trying on Watrous and Winnipeg, I'm trying to get by the highway, just cut down there a bit.
Yeah.
Just so it's not such a big hunk coming off the highway when you're going up them.
Right.
And I think I'm starting to get that hill out of there that's been built up over time.
Right.
So I don't know. I think we should try it here for the rest of this year anyways, and then we can revisit it again next year.
Sure.
before summer if we need to get someone to come in with a grader.
Good.
And maybe we can have it where we want it and get some rock dumped on some of it too or something.
Yeah, just gotta be careful on the real steep ones that you don't put too much loose gravel. Cause then
Yeah,
5 minutes later, they're washboarded, right?
well, that's just it. That's what I'm trying to prevent right now. I haven't been putting anything on any of the hills right now. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to pull the stuff from the bottom back to the top.
Right.
So I'm using that to fill in the holes, and then we're putting water in on the ones that I'm working on. So we're just going slowly on it and watering as we go,
Right.
because it just works so much nicer. Like I did Roy Street dry, and it worked really good. I didn't cut into anything real deep, but I was able to still fill all the cracks and then we watered it after I went over a couple times dry, and then I went over that way, and I was starting to get a shape there. So
All right. Hey, what else, Lindsay?
and then we sent away one of our distribution pumps. It's been at the water plant since I started, and I got told that it needed to go away for repair. So I sent it in for repair, and the repair cost is $31.70, and I'm just waiting on a price like what a brand new one would be. But I think we'll have to look at getting it repaired, because our backup distribution pump, the shaft has some wobble to it. So, and it hasn't been on a power outage. It doesn't come on its own for some reason. So I got to look into that a bit too. But then when we went over there and turned it on by hand, I really got looking at it because we've seen water shooting out. So the packing needs to dry out or something. So we got looking at it, and it's got a bit of a shimmy to it. So, well, I think we need to replace it with this one and then have a look.
Yeah.
And that way, or have someone come and make sure it's not the shaft going down into the reservoir at least
Right.
too. So, but I'm just waiting on our repair cost or like a cost of a brand new one.
Right.
So,
All right.
figure out which way is the best way to go, and with warranty and everything. So, and then we had to get new tires put on the back of the backhoe here. Because one tire, we went to use it. It worked fine the one day, next day there's 3 bulges on the outside and 3 bulges on the inside of the tread.
So did you end up putting those 12-ply Firestones on it or what?
Nope, I put a 16 ply
Or
Firestone.
16-ply?
Yeah, and they were cheaper than, that's kind of the mid-range price, but they're still cheaper than the other 3 that I got priced on.
Okay.
Kinda. There's a Hercules that was about $1,000 a tire. I got told they won't last, you won't get a year out of them.
Wow.
And then Goodyears were $1,300 a tire. And I got told they don't hold up well to sitting outside in the sun, the UV rating sucks on them. And then I got told on the Michelins, which were $1,700 a pair, they don't, the weight, you still don't seem to be able to get the length that you think out of them, kind of thing, just for the wear. And then these Firestones were 6, and those were all 12-ply. Firestone's the only one that has a 16-ply, and they were $1,200 per tire.
Right.
So I think we've got the better deal. And I talked to a couple guys out in the oil field and out around Kinnersley and that, and they said they won't put anything but them on. They seem to be holding up better.
Yeah.
And they're the only one that comes in a 16-ply too.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I think that's about all I got right now that I can think of.
Yeah, the roofing for the drive-in, did you get some numbers on that?
Still trying to figure out the profile and get it pulled out to actually look at it better. There's a lot of junk in that front, so I want to try and get that pulled out. So hopefully this week I can get it pulled out to actually get a piece to take it in and make sure we can get the same profile and see how much we have
Right.
sitting there.
All right.
And then I'm just doing some other repairs at the drive-in that Earl brought to my attention, so. Good.
Okay. I'm busy. All right. I guess if there's nothing else, we'll go on to Deb's report then.
Okay, you had a resume that turned in, the only thing on there is, does council want a deposit on the land sale now, like 5%, how are you feeling that?
If you're soon, at least
Okay, I
5%,
wasn't sure.
hold it for 1 year. If he
Yeah.
doesn't pay anymore, either he renews it for 5% or whatever the next council decides.
Okay, so 5% hold for 1 year,
Is that standard?
I don't know what.
What have we done before?
you haven't sold any land, like typically what, nothing like this still needs to be subdivided, we can't even give them title to it,
That's what I mean. yeah.
right?
Okay.
So it's very different, so I'm asking you, because I have no direction,
Yeah,
we want something to hold it, so.
5%.
I think that's fair.
Well, especially if we have to do some work for the title, or they do, right?
They
They're
do
paying
their
for it.
cost, yeah, but it'll take a while, that's gonna be 6 months for sure, we
Yeah.
saw what a
Yeah,
subdivision
longer.
can take, so 5% deposit and hold 1 year, is that what your intention is?
Well, but it takes a while to get this stuff done. It's not-
So I did have a call in regards to this motorized craps. I had a call from Jeff, the sergeant, last week while I was away. So the others, just we were talking to you about it, there was several complaints about a sea-doo pulling up to the main beach and picking up people and dropping people off. And I mean, I get it, even, there's no marker buoys there for a swim area, but common sense should prevail a little bit. It's been a swimming area as long as any of us can remember. Pick a different spot, there's other.
And it's
places
the
to
only
go.
swimming area now,
Oh, really?
of substance, right?
Mhm.
So, and I know I could talk to Lindsay too, and so they're gonna come up with a game plan early in the spring to get marker buoys out and make sure that they stay put
Well, we have to remember nothing was opening,
and nothing was open
Right.
too.
Yeah.
So
nobody
it was
expected this.
a strange year, so
It's
I
all
think that
kind
the
of
person that was on the CD or that owns the CD was talked to.
by the
I
RCMP,
believe so.
and came and talked to me, and everybody is happy, not quite the outcome they thought would happen, because, but it's all just fine. Yeah.
A small boat pulled
Lots
up
of
at
fighting.
the
I
west
think
side.
it'll
So
be
they were
this
back
week.
there again this Sunday.
So we'll need to advise for sure the regional park to get the
Yeah.
buoys out.
Well, then you can talk to them down, like,
Yeah,
I'm not here on the
no,
weekend, I don't know.
Yeah,
Like
If
that
they
is-
are, then call the cops so they get ticketed.
yeah, no, I heard it after the fact, so there wasn't anything I could have done about it, but yeah.
I know many years ago, we made anchors for the marker buoys out of those 10-liter ice cream pails, like, with,
Yeah.
Oh, it's concrete.
and put an anchor, cemented an anchor into them. And those were heavy enough, those did hold, but they're difficult to put in and out because they are
Yeah.
heavy, but if
Do
they're
they
not
have
heavy
to come
enough,
out?
they just move around.
Yeah, do they have to come out?
Well, how do
Yeah,
you
the
find
ice
them
will
then?
take it.
Because there's still, are the ones that are out there not
Well,
ones
there's
that
one that
left all?
marks a rock or something.
Yeah, and it's been there,
Yeah.
it didn't come out, did it? It was there before, yeah, yeah.
the ice cream.
Okay.
You'd have to swim down to find the chain or something if you have, you know, if you leave it, right? How are you gonna do that? Some of that's 18 feet of water.
Yeah.
Like, once it gets deep, it's 20 feet, 25.
And everyone that was involved is, they really, again, left it at that, so.
Okay. well,
Need
that's
a
something
barge
I'll
or some
consider
sort of
this week.
pontoon boat that's
Mhm.
durable and can take a bit of a beating, because those, like I said, I used my boat there one year to put them out, and there was a little bit of damage after from the concrete blocks.
Oh,
So,
underneath the thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's just,
Could or should be taken out on one of the rafts or.
the
Yeah,
fact remains, you don't, it's a public swim area, you don't have to mark it.
No, but
Because
it's a
the
good,
people operating it, because they should have boat licenses. And part of it is not to swim among
Mhm.
public swim areas.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's just the
that's,
rules.
like I
of
said,
the-
common sense has to prevail.
Yeah.
You know, because this is such a buoyant lake, people are swimming across
All the way
and,
down.
you know, our boat, boaters from somewhere else who might not realize that people.
Mhm. Well, they need to be
I know you
aware
should be
and
carrying
watch.
a flag or.
Well, that's what you should do if you're gonna swim across the lake. Just have a little balloon or something that you carry with you.
Okay,
All
so
right.
MEP approval, the project for the water treatment plant generator project. I put the application in, then they contacted me and said they didn't get the application, which they did. I emailed it back to our email, not working properly. Nice. I got approval today. The allocation is $45,000, so, which is a little bit better than nothing. That's for the water treatment plant generator pump. You'd said the aquatic habitat permit has been approved for the boat
Yeah.
launch. We got that today. There's a fire ban and email packages. I have no way of knowing if you don't get them because they were sent in my
Yeah.
sent, and I resent my sent.
Your email sort of, I was on holidays, so I kind of was
Yeah.
ignoring it, and then when I saw your email, because I check emails every day and stuff, and I thought, okay, yeah, you're right, you know what, we didn't get the package.
Yeah.
It kind of slipped my mind too,
Yeah.
to say something like by Thursday night, I should have said something.
And that's, I sort of
Well,
left it till first
actually-
thing Friday.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you get them Wednesday.
One of
and
the
then for
counselors
13
thought we had
weeks, you
parole.
got them Wednesday,
Yeah.
and I don't generally wait,
I
because I'm gone. right?
Yeah, it's not
And so
working.
then I was in the middle of the lake,
And I
really
didn't
having
even know you
nothing
were
to
gone.
do.
Yeah.
Well,
You've been
it's
watching
Friday,
TV
and
too much.
that's it.
Yeah.
So I'm
Good.
kind of wondering if we need to go back, because I don't know if you get them. I haven't trusted our email here for
you
a
know what,
while.
Bev,
Can get a
next
response
time,
pin or something, can you?
the next Wednesday that you set them out, shoot me a text, send packages, and I'll watch it, if I didn't get it, I'll let you know.
Okay. And then everybody else will let me know when they get it, or my other option is, if everybody is around, like if you're all living here, I know, Larry, you don't, and that would be one of the reasons we kind of went electronic. We used to drop them off. It's what we did a paper.
Oh, that's right,
We
yeah.
literally did
Yeah,
that.
but we're trying to get away from the
Can you
paper
not,
too, aren't we?
do a, reply sort of thing where you,
You can give an
Read
email a
receipts?
priority, can't you?
yeah,
Well, certainly, but that
Yeah.
doesn't matter. You won't know that if you've got it or not. right?
no,
That's not-
but.
That's
There's a
what it
read
does,
receipt.
isn't it?
Right.
Your priority will give it an exclamation mark, but if it
Mhm.
doesn't go to you.
Yeah.
You don't see that it's
Yeah.
important.
Mhm.
So the read receipt is, I mean, that's not a bad idea, but I guess my problem on my end is it was sent It was in my sent file, because I always check my sent file,
Why
because I don't
don't you
trust
set the
it.
rule for council, if it doesn't show up by Thursday noon, they
Contact
phone
you, yeah.
Yeah, because if
Every
it's
day,
gonna be past
Wednesday.
Wednesday,
Yeah.
I generally.
you. It gives it an extra day, you know.
But
you
yeah,
never know
we'll sort it
something.
out, and I didn't have a chance to talk to SaskTel today again either, because they need to get their act together.
Okay.
For sure, and I think, clear down email packages, that is it.
Okay.
You were.
Motion to accept the foreman report and the CAO report as mine. That's Chris, all in favor?
No, it's not Chris, it's,
Yeah, I think it was.
no, he's the 5% deposit and
Oh,
holding here.
sorry. Okay, all in favor? Carried. Okay, new business, order to remedy.
Yeah, so 7 Hall Street, we all have this, it is it's their right to ask for an appeal, their appeal is to an extension, and at least a month, end of September. The only group that can do this is actually council. You're the only ones that have the right to yay or nay, or yay with conditions, or whatever you want to do.
One month is September 13th then?
You Put that in your motion for sure.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's,
He's got end of September is what he's written.
I know, but he did ask for a month.
And then he
Okay.
asked for end of September. That's in his
May
letter.
I ask a question to this? Early in June, just after we'd hired our bylaw officer, we sat at the table and this place was discussed. I'm wondering why they just received notification.
Because
In
it was
August.
just done, just
Yeah, but
August 13th.
my point is why they didn't receive notification when we were talking about it in June.
Because I think I asked Chris, and Chris said it, I said, you have to report these. Report what you want, and we'll pass it along.
And discussion at the council table isn't sufficient.
Well, nobody told me to report it to them. It was discussion, and that was the last comment. So the neighbors had actually reported it, and we put it forth.
Okay,
Okay, that's why I'm asking. So 2 weeks, if they've just received notice, 2 weeks is probably
we'll think.
a little tight to try and clean that up.
Can we not get the bylaw officer to act on his own as well? He should be knowledgeable enough.
And he does, he does, but a lot of it is, if it comes in, I'm obligated to give it to him. So the neighbor brought it in,
No,
and
that's
I
not,
sent it to him.
that's not the point. The point is that he probably would have seen this, maybe he could have acted on it without
You have
somebody
to talk to
reporting it.
him about
Yeah.
the,
Yeah.
like he can, like
Mhm.
he has the ability, but at this point now, it's an appeal. So it's,
And the other one is that the staff going around are well aware of what's going on and see things that a lot of people don't. They could bring these things
yeah, and
into the
Lindsay
office.
has, and Charlene has dogs running,
Yeah.
dogs on the beach, dogs on. There's a lot of quiet stuff, I guess, that you don't hear,
Yeah.
because it's like, I send them emails of, you're here Saturday watching the beach, there's been this, oh, there's another trailer parked up there, oh, somebody's camping over here, storage over here, there's a lot of stuff that you don't see.
Yeah.
It's just
Good.
But his
warnings
reports
and
are
in his
just
report.
a couple things every week, so.
Mhm.
So it's not a big thing. I'll give a motion that we allow the person till the end of September, if that's
Yeah, I
okay.
think that's fair.
The fact that they're gonna clean it up is nice,
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, she,
and they've made that much of an effort.
well, she spoke to me and said, it's gonna get cleaned up, I just can't do it in this short period of time, so, yes, let's give her that.
Send it to the end of
Until
September.
September 30th. Which day of the month is that?
Although there's a little vagueness, at least until.
There always is. I mean, this is a reoccurring, over.
This isn't the first
You have
job
to get
cowboy.
started. We have to bring in our,
September
we have to bring
30th,
in a
Wednesday.
record to.
Okay, that's perfect then, until
Oh, yeah.
September.
They will.
Okay,
There's stuff in it.
and that is coffee, so you've got 2 in a row there.
All in favor?
Mhm.
Carried. Request for reducing sewer charge for grass seed watering.
And I am to understand that that's on that person's own property?
Yes.
Of course,
I'm sorry,
I just,
I water my grass too, and I don't expect somebody to pay for it, so. Do we need to put it in the form of a motion and then vote
Well,
on it, or how do
I'm
you wanna
obligated
handle it?
when it comes in, when it's to go to council, so we
Mhm.
would want to actually respond to it.
Yes, so that's what I'm
So a
saying,
motion.
do you need it, in a motion? Yeah,
I'll put it in a motion in the affirmative, doesn't mean you have. to
Right.
and then we vote, yeah.
And then
So motion,
To do a reduction. Is that affirmative enough?
all in favor? Denied. Motion, not defeated.
Bev uses a
I
different
use
word.
a different, but I'm gonna take the word in here just cause. There. Okay.
So now Ross, you might want to plant some trees outside of your property.
Do we allow others to do that?
There are cases where there are trees outside of the property boundaries.
I know myself, I had to make the choice whether to put in a fence or to pull my hedge. I pulled the hedge, put in my fence. Yeah, I don't know where you,
How do
I
you
don't know,
control
your
it?
property line's your property line. Yeah,
I don't see a problem planting the trees across the back alley on the opposite,
To the south,
the vacant land,
right?
but I think that we're trying to control individuals on their own keep them on their own property, where we've got problems trees encroaching laneways and streets already significantly, and it causes a lot of problems.
So on the west side is the hills, it's down to Wellington.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then to the south is that big pasture.
Who owns that land?
we do,
I guess
don't we?
We
I know
do.
that's-
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
village law.
village owns
So
it.
Might we
somebody-
ever sell it?
Of
Well,
course.
No.
there's always that possibility
Yeah,
that it
absolutely.
down
would be
the hill.
developed.
It's in Wellington.
No,
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 a
it's
deal
south,
is
to the south.
ours. Yes,
South-
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
There's south
Sorry.
boundary,
We
correct,
might
yeah.
want to,
Yeah,
we
I
might
thought
want
you
to
said
develop
west.
the road. Those
The
are the
west,
things
I
we
can
want to think
see
of.
it being an issue, but to the south, then the trees would be on the alley,
Oh, yeah.
because that is a back alley there.
Yes,
No, we're talking two bunches of trees.
Yeah.
We're talking trees that are 2.5 feet into the back lane, and then trees that would be past the back lane as another windbreak. Both on the
Can I
south
step
side.
in on that conversation?
You certainly can.
So Ross, the resident is wanting to put it across the back alley
Yep,
on the, like, not even close to the alley at all. About 2 feet back from where the alley line would be. And then the other side is the downside, and it's just if he puts anything there, it would just be a couple shrubs just for a windbreak. And his fence is pretty much on the edge of the cliff anyway. He's gonna step his fence in just to stay off the cliff, I think is what his plan was. And then the trees would just be on the outside. There's already a couple trees that when they got planted from a previous owner, they got veered off and already.
Yeah, I guess on the south boundary, they're asking to put a fence in the alley.
into the alley. And
'Cause
No, the
that's
fence
what
would
our,
be in their yard.
No,
oh, our letter says that they
No, it wouldn't
want
be,
to
Lindsay.
put it 2 to 3 feet into the alley.
Here's the picture, the pink is the property,
Mhm.
the blue is the fence line.
Yeah, so we're talking about different things, I think, Lindsay.
Like you're talking up at the top of the hill on Cumming Avenue.
Yep, south of
Yeah.
the property.
Yeah,
They would like to put a fence 2.5 feet past the property line, and then put trees past that.
okay, that's not the way I understood it when I went and talked to
Yeah, that's the letter and the picture that we're seeing.
him. Okay,
So maybe
no,
that
that's not the
all
way he
needs
explained it to me when I was up there talking.
to, okay, maybe we need to clarify it all, but.
His water line is inside his property line.
Yeah, yeah,
Right there. So he doesn't want to build a fence on it, because that's bad for your water line. So therefore, he wants to go outside the property line for the fence.
Mhm.
My suggestion, and I was quite clear, I tell everybody to build on your property line. Your water lines are gonna be outside your fence. I don't think that's gonna be much of a problem, but
that's where it ends.
well, where does it
Yeah.
Well, the only
It's
place we have
principally-
agreement is on the west side. Is that correct?
And
Which
that's-
is the down.
That's basically removed, if I recall correctly.
The easement,
Easement has been removed.
Yeah, we removed the easement to the west.
but it's still village property.
No, it's their
Oh,
property,
okay.
always has been. The
Yeah.
easement was ours.
Okay, so they
But
want.
that's on the west end of the easement property.
Yes,
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
If it's not,
And there's not gonna be anything there
it's a
because
hill.
you're gonna go down the hill, yeah. So we could probably agree on that perhaps. But see,
this is where you're
Down
gonna
the
run
road.
into problems.
Yeah.
we don't know what's gonna happen in the alleyway or the other property. So who's gonna be responsible for removing those walking poplars 15 years down the road?
Or when, yeah,
If we, in
Mhm.
fact, have the option to sell it at some point.
and it's going, they're hoping to put stuff in the back lane. Yeah, well,
Just as a comment, I would hate to see, unless these poplars are different than the ones that are polluting.
They don't breed them anymore, don't you can't even buy a
Oh, you
poplar
can't?
that sheds
Oh, that's
buds
good.
anymore.
No,
That's
they're
not a
just
problem.
extremely tall and grow
Yeah.
quite quick. And they don't seem to suffer very much.
let's approve the evergreens to the west and table the rest for discussion for the next council meeting. Does that make sense? Because obviously this needs to be hashed over a little more, because it's going to be going onto a back lane. And that back lane is, I understand that, I'm not,
We have to authorize others to put the,
we gotta let everybody do it if we do it, yeah.
So we're okay with the fence on the west side.
the, no.
There's no
the,
fence on the
spruce
west side,
trees.
it's trees
there
on the
will
west
be a
side.
fence.
Well,
on the
there
west side.
certainly shows a fence on our drawing.
Absolutely.
Okay, okay,
There's a fence on the west and the south. And it says fence right there.
there we
On the
go,
west.
okay.
So-
I don't have a big issue like Larry says about what's happening on the west with trees and fence, because it's not going to affect
And we're never
future
going,
people.
exactly, we're never selling
But the south
property.
end is potential of all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This is where our property
Yeah,
is. And the fence can't be in the lane.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's everything on that side is
I think we have to
problematic.
agree with that the lane is a no-go.
well, and putting trees,
You just have a fight years down the road
Yeah.
about moving it.
or about whose it is, well, you know, something like squatters' rights, right? We don't need that either.
I don't have a terrific problem with poplars across the lane on the vacant land
Right.
there. Because it's gonna be the back end of somebody's property anyway, if it is ever developed. And therefore, basically what you can do is, just,
Keep them, or if you buy it, you can chop them down if you don't
Yeah.
like them. but-
yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I know this doesn't justify it, but the chances of development there
I know,
is slim to none, because there is so many other lots that are serviced.
Yeah.
That are available there.
But if somebody wanted 2 or 3 in a, like a large parcel, that would be the place for it. It's flat. It's,
it'd be a lot of
Workable.
infrastructure would need to go in to get to it though. If that is the
but
back end.
It's hilly and
but
rocky.
there is no space where you can get 3 lots or 2 lots right now, so
Yeah.
that may be the one. I don't know. I need
Right.
to squash something in the future because we didn't have any foresight.
Well, does it need to be tabled? I would say.
I would either agree on all or table all. Because there seems you're talking trees and we've got a fence over here, nobody's seen the big picture.
Fair enough, I agree.
Those trees are okay.
Table it all?
Sure. I mean, that needs to be explained.
Yeah.
They need to come in and be explained why, what the concerns are and why.
Well, and I'll bring it back next council
Yeah.
meeting. So there'll be no decision, cross over it, there's no decision at this point. Our next council, it'll be reviewed by
Right.
exactly what I would do.
And it'll be abundantly clear then exactly what they plan to do.
Mhm.
I presume.
All right, drive-in aerial photo.
You guys dodged that one, eh?
That's kind of common.
Hard pass on that.
Our path, oh,
For me
nice.
anyway, I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
What do we
I
need?
wonder if
look
we
at
could,
that topic.
we
Was
could
there
use Google.
Was
Maps.
there some sort of a price tag on this?
$370
No,
or
no.
something. I don't know why we want one.
Well, I've got a video
Well, I
from,
told him that,
Al
but I don't
Bowman.
have the authority.
yeah,
to
who
do
did that for nothing.
So it was like he
That was a
Probably
good, that was a good thing.
Sees this.
Yeah.
He did it in 20 minutes.
No, thank you would be sufficient.
I did, but I couldn't get him out of the office. I have no authority, fine, give me a picture, okay?
Okay,
Community
okay.
waste
So that-
collection event.
This is a legitimate organization as far as you know that.
Hi, yeah, it's the first time I've heard of this.
Looks like they're from
I researched it
Alberta.
a little bit.
Yeah.
It's actually a national organization, ERP or something.
ERA.
ERA.
Yeah.
And what they do is they have a machine that scrubs cleans the hard drive, or they will actually shred the hard drive. Now, presumably Sarcan does the same, but I'm not positive, but I was
I
reading.
think the whole
about
idea
Sarcan.
is just to get people coming out and dropping it off.
Yeah.
You can't get to Sarcan, you can't get it, you know?
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
supposed to be more.
I was thinking that possibly this committee or group, the one that planned the garage sale, it would be something in their purview.
Thank you, I'll just add it to the file, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's a nice
we could talk
service to
about
the
it.
community. And,
Yeah.
Sure.
December
Okay.
1st, we all bring our computers in or whatever. we
I would
want.
love to, I mean, I've got
Printers.
4 computers.
But so why don't you take it to Sarcan?
I haven't trusted Sarcan to scrub,
Okay.
that's.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just putting a note here, your deal.
How about a
I've
sledgehammer
got the
and scrub?
emails,
Well,
and you're
it's-
gonna have to respond to them.
Hydrochloric acid
It's
in
taking
the
it
port.
out and scrubbing it.
I can do,
Good, Canada Day fireworks.
yes.
Okay, what the rec board has decided to do is have a mini fireworks on September the 6th at Union Park, 8:30. We're looking at, we've got the $1,300 from the Heritage Canada, and the residual will be picked up by the rec board as far as we see at the present time. Mike Hayward from the Mini Mart is going to be giving us a good deal on the fireworks. It is, and I said mini fireworks, it's not the,
Are we not gonna get the guys from the Giant?
no, it's not the 4, 5 or 6 inch shells. It's just going to be all
Store-bought.
store-bought shells, but the majority of them are going to be over 30 meters in height, I think.
Mhm.
So it's going to be set off from the back end of, behind the
Sculpture.
sculpture at Human Park. COVID rules will apply, just, that'll be on the posters and stuff, you know, just keep your distance, that sort of thing. And just go from there. There is planned for a little bit of a water boat flotilla beforehand, probably around 7:30 or so.
And Marlene Brock is looking after that,
I
right?
think the
Flotilla? Yeah.
flotilla,
Similar to
what she did.
an expanded version of what she
Yeah.
did Canada Day,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right,
So if I can just make that motion that council approve it, it's at no expense to the village.
Sounds great.
all in favor? Great. One Jean Street garage.
Yeah, that's the one that came in front of
Okay, where,
Pardon me?
where is that?
No, 1 Jean Street.
Just came in right
Yeah,
at 5.
yeah, no,
That's why we don't have it in your packet.
So it's an accessory building because it's a garage. It's actually the garage that's being moved from next door to him because he had bought the one that was 3 lots up. It's moving on down, is what his plan is. I mean, it's an accessory building, so you're gonna have to approve the accessory building prior to the primary building. Wants a 5-foot side setback on the south side, so, which means no windows, openings, fire retardant material, all the usual, for the variance. And I think that
The setback
he
is on
wants the
under
back setback,
I
5 feet as
see
well,
that.
and I
I
haven't
saw
had a
it being
chance to look
developed.
at it. Mhm.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
And that setback is on the
Back.
back side of the property, right?
There's 2 setbacks, the back
Okay,
and then the south. The south is the biggest issue
Okay.
because it needs, because it came in at 5 to 5. I don't know what the back setback should be. I don't
okay,
know if he's gonna have an opening on that. That'll make a difference of what that needs to be, because if it's gonna be accessible by that,
Mhm.
then it can't be 5 feet. You can't park a car.
So if it just
There,
came to
right?
you, there's another one that could just be held over for a couple weeks.
Well, that's why I said
Yeah.
you never have to approve anything, accept anything that comes in.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Okay.
it's always up to council. It's up to you to decide. But
Just like any motion or anything presented to council, is it not supposed to be here at least 5 days ahead of time? To you to
yes,
be
and
considered?
council can, and all I do is bring it. It's up to your discretion to accept it. Right? It's not a bad idea to know what's coming.
Bring it
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, to bring it back to
But
the
yeah.
next
Is
meeting
it
and
critical?
deal with it.
Well, to him it is.
That's why
I
you do
guess.
it 5 to 5.
Yeah, I mean, and I was very clear about, because we discussed this before, I
Next
I knew it was
meeting's
gonna be moving.
September
Have you talked to him
14th or
beforehand?
something, so.
yes. And
Yeah,
I gave him
talking.
his guideline, and he tried really hard to get it in by Wednesday. He didn't. Tried really.
Okay,
I mean, it is what it is. So I'm gonna put,
table.
bring back next meeting.
Yeah, table it, please, yeah.
Oh, new council's gonna have some.
That's somewhere for down here.
There's nothing saying that Doug's here.
Right?
I'll just be in the
Councilor
gallery.
approval.
I'll be there.
Just whip them along there.
Every night.
You get party mode before you go up there.
Yeah, that's why you're okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry to burst your bubble. I'll try to be as organized as I can with that. List of accounts for approval, at 53,394.88. Just kind of, all the summer employees, they'll be done on Friday. They'll be finished then,
I'm sorry.
except for Justin, he'll be staying on.
That worked out well and it cost us very little.
Mhm.
We
Yeah,
still
I
have
think so.
a grant for Justin, don't we?
No, his will be over once we do the final paperwork. 'Cause
Okay,
they're
I
only-
thought there
each
was an
one was only-
extension. Yeah,
They're only good for 8 weeks each one. He was
Mhm.
accepted, there was no extension. So
okay,
he's outside of that, and that's how they've worked in the past. So
okay.
you've got from this date to this date. We
Mhm.
hired him at this date,
Mhm.
but we're not gonna claim that.
No, I'd
um,
understood there was a government extension for students that would keep them, that we could keep them employed until they, and because
No,
of the
it's
COVID
still-
thing. That's
Because
what
of
I
the
was
COVID,
looking
you
at.
got 8 weeks.
Okay,
So it doesn't matter, we could hire some more students to stay till
Mhm.
January of next year, but that just would not make sense, we don't need them.
Mhm.
That's what the
There's no
extension is, the
extension.
timeline,
okay,
and
Yep.
it's.
Good. Got it.
And I don't know,
Yeah.
I noticed
any
in
questions, I don't know.
SAS Power, they bill was 219.51 for the all.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
That's still reasonably high, I think, isn't it?
Absolutely,
Is that
and
for
I went
1 month?
over and I looked and there's nothing running, there's not a month.
I'm just
And the one
wondering,
prior to it was extremely high as well.
I'm just wondering whether, we don't send in any readings, they just, are they averaging it from past history?
No, they do have readings, this was an estimate, but the one prior to it also was high. So we went over, I went over, talked to everybody,
Yeah.
like, what do you guys, I mean, the fan is on, you gotta keep some air movement in there.
Yeah.
The only thing that's running is the fridge and the deep freeze.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a $200 deep freeze,
No.
But
you know?
it's, this is 3 months, is it?
No, it's
This is
1
1
month.
month?
Monthly.
It's monthly.
Okay.
So I went over to see what the heck was going on, and I brought that up before, even our sump is not running all the time. Once a week, the guys go over, when they're checking it, they run the sump. So can't figure it out. I went, looked, no lights on. The only thing that was weird, was the motion lights in the bathroom, stay on way too long, absolutely way too long. So I walked, so the first one turned on, and I thought, oh, okay, we'll just wait, and wait, and wait, and wait, and it was like 12 or 15 minutes, and thinking,
Somebody could be in the bathroom for a while.
well, they could,
Oh, no,
but they
no,
can
but when
wait.
you leave,
They
then
can-
it goes out.
I
Yeah.
know, but the thing is that you
Yeah.
hate to be in the bathroom toilet.
Oh, yeah, no,
That
no,
would be
but if you're
awkward.
in there, it stays on. It's
Not if you're
after
not
you've
moving.
left.
Not if you're sitting on the pot and the door's closed.
You know what?
Well, there you
Throw
go,
a piece of
okay. Yeah.
Kleenex, wave your hand,
But-
do
but-
whatever,
yeah.
15 minutes is
But
too much, and I'm not done.
And
I'm
then
not
on the
done.
light
I'm gonna
bulb.
tell you
With
what
a
else
phone call
happened.
to stop power,
Okay, continue.
So, I watched it, and it was way too long, it was 12 to 15 minutes on. It shut off, and it must create a shadow, the other bathroom came on. And then that came on, and then my first bathroom came on again as well.
Oh.
So I don't know if there's a setting where it could be doing that day and night, I don't know.
24/7, they're playing.
Well, I
tag.
don't know, but that's what I had seen, so.
Can we
turn the
Just
impose
breaker
go
on,
off
check
to
them.
them if there's no one in there.
can we impose on Lindsay?
I've already talked to Lindsay to go sort it out, but yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it's not.
Because
And
those
I'm
are
not
just
even
standard,
saying-
I would
And
say,
that's hard to believe it's $200.
I would say flip
That-
some breakers off to eliminate some of those issues and then just kind of narrow it down by
Well, the only other,
process of elimination.
the only other thing is, we've got campers there all the time. They're waiting to get into regional park. Are any of them plugging into the outside? So I
Anyone
did-
ever seen?
Well, I told our guys just to keep an eye
Yeah.
open, but that's gonna be at night, and that wouldn't be
Can we not
over
shut
the
that
last
breaker off?
decade. I
Yeah,
mean, we
that's what I mean.
certainly.
Yeah, the outside
Start shutting
breakers
some breakers
especially,
off.
just
Tell
shut the
them
breakers
no.
off. Yeah.
Lindsay, are you still on?
Well, it's probably not gonna be an issue.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, so
I'm shutting the outside plugs off.
I've shut the bathroom lights off, breaker
I
too.
gotta pull the switches apart and check if I can change the settings on them.
Okay,
I think they're
No, I'm,
just,
I'm on top of it.
all right.
Good.
yeah, I think they're just standard ones that were bought, Lindsay, if you want
You
to.
should still be able to adjust the sensitivity and the time setting on them.
Okay, yeah, check with
Yeah.
Vince if you have any questions as to what he was bought or whatever.
Yeah, no, I know which ones are bought and
Yeah.
what
Okay.
they are.
Good, thank you.
TSL, $2,900 or $2,600 for,
Yeah.
$2,900 for 309 Cumming. Did you say that, that was being picked up by the,
Yeah, we built the property owner,
Land
it's
Rover,
theirs,
okay.
you know.
Okay.
TSL just billed us out,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just,
Was there,
She's
what
ex-
was going on there?
she's
The water
expecting,
leak.
her water line was leaking, and she expected it, we took care of it, and TSL just billed us, and we've already billed her out.
Okay.
All righty,
I'm bringing a pack that size.
anything else? Motion to approve.
Okay, Harry, you got that one.
All in favor? All in favor? Thank you.
We've
Bank
got
recs for July.
Our reserve account. We got
Yeah.
$93,000 in there.
Good enough.
Nice.
So that, I got Doug is approving that one, and then we've got our general revenue account, so as of July 31st, we had $224,000 sitting in our general revenue account.
Okay. Statement of financial activities.
Made a couple notes in there, grass cutting under custom work, tax liens, titles. Martin Dreddiger, he pays 2019 and 2020 for his ag lease, so we've got that kind of duplicated in there. Marina and flea market is that recreational facilities rental. Postage fees reverse, that is the 420-800-200 general office services provided. We're giving everybody, it's very difficult to anybody that had already getting e-bills, but they weren't in our current file, because I put them in their land file. Anything to do with land eventually goes there. So when we implemented that postage fee, I had to put it on all the accounts and hope that I didn't put on anybody that was already signed up for that. So there was a few, so we're giving them a break for a little bit. They always did. We took that. So that's 752 being coming off. Nothing really else.
What page are you on now?
I'm just looking for my notes there. Page 3, Sask Lottery, donations, rec board, and CIB only, 3482. That's that revenue. Page 4, legal bylaw and ISC on account payment. Quarter signs, tourism, advertisement, elections, food stocks, nomination ad. And then the Sask Lottery back as an expense is there. So we've had it on the revenue side, and then we paid it over to go to check. Page 5, we had replaced the water piping in the shop. Grants and contributions, there is a regional park annual fee. That's what that is. Contracted services under fire protection is the hall and fire extinguishers.
Is that every year?
It's actually twice a year. So that is actually all the extinguishers. That's actually, they do twice, and that's at the hall, the extinguishers here. They all have to be, I don't know, service, make sure they're charged, whatever they do.
Check.
And then there's
Okay.
also your hall. When I say hall, that's actually your fire protection over top of your grill.
Yeah.
That needs to be
So we're-
checked.
It's not being used for a month, so.
It still has
Still
to be
needs to
checked
be
and
checked.
tagged. Yeah.
Just as a comment there, the rec board, I think, is looking at, the equipment in the, hall as to whether the stove is necessary and whether to get a couple of, electric stoves,
Ranges. Yeah.
ranges.
You can do pancakes that way.
I think, yeah, there's also the barbecue grill that we bought. Our village bought the thing, but we bought griddles to fit over there, so I think that could work. But yeah, no, they've talked about it, but no decision has been made.
There's no issues with the stove now, is there? Or
Oh, yeah. There's
there's lighting
Always.
always with it.
and control?
Pilot light keeps going out.
Yeah, and it's
Older than the hills or what?
yeah,
So for
It's
a
an
rental,
ordeal
it's
cleaning
never
it.
been a
Yeah.
job.
it's very heavy, very cumbersome.
Yeah, I know. It's
Takes
it's
an
supposed to be
extensive-
heavy.
Yeah, but it's something that has to have a fan running all the time and fancy fire protection equipment
Yeah,
for
as
it.
soon as you have gas. you
Cause you've
gotta
got
have-
a,
Okay,
so yeah.
So we would save with some of that, extinguisher fee then.
Could,
Yeah, because
Well,
you wouldn't
something
have
small,
that over
yeah.
now, the gas.
But you still have the fume hood if you want. You could turn it on and then.
Just a fan.
yeah. Good, yeah.
all right.
On page 6, just a couple note starters, axles, tires. We've been repairing a lot of vehicles. It's just an ongoing thing. Holes drilled for the sign quarter, concrete for that. Coming down, pest control supplies, that's Roundup. We bought a whole program. Keep it going. Page 7, got some notes there, bathroom repairs and paint. Yeah.
Just check.
Yeah.
That's it. Something you might be interested in, page 10, so the taxes collected for the month of July is 46,000.
So that's early money,
Early for
Well-
some people.
because you don't have to pay till the 30th, December 30th.
Yeah, but people don't change their habits.
No,
We've got
fair
lots of
enough.
people, they get that bill, they're here. And we've got
And that's
people that
wonderful.
get the bill, they never come back. It goes to the So that's kind of where that is.
I've
I'm
got,
gonna get you to sign this too, because that is just in.
I have
that
a
way you
question
do all that.
on page
Mhm.
7, the water bill at the hall. What exactly does that entail? Is that the community garden water
Yeah,
and,
everything runs off of that.
That's what I'm asking. So that's community garden and the home. And,
Well, the community garden is a separate, now that I'm saying, no, it's not.
okay,
The community
Comes from the
garden,
treatment plant, doesn't it?
no, there is a meter. We did put
Yeah,
a meter on
from
it
the hall.
because I bill you guys at the end of the
Yeah.
season. So the community hall is water and sewer at the community hall.
so we have an $868 bill at the community hall for water?
That's what,
That's what
No.
I'm asking. Go ahead.
The water meter at the hall is the hall, and the concession booth and the community garden.
Okay.
Oh, okay, so how?
Thank you,
And
Lindsay.
the
I had
outside
a
sprinklers.
separate bill though for the garden. I must
They
have-
are separate bills. We have another meter that meters the water going to the community garden. So you need to take the meter for the community garden, and that should be deducted off of the hall.
Okay.
Thank you for being here, Lindsay. There, that answered that one. Good, thank you.
We didn't do it like that before.
I've received a separate bill from
Yeah.
you, but,
Exactly.
how on
So
this
you know
part, I
what?
don't know.
Our reading is not being done. That's the thing, because I haven't deducted it. I've had two accounts and a meter for each.
Yeah.
And a separate bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah.
So we're doing something funny
Yeah.
with our reading, because it wasn't like that prior.
All right.
Okay.
Good.
I guess the 2019 audit.
Okay, statement of financial activities.
Oh, yeah.
Copy, you
You got everything.
passed that.
All in favor on all of them? Carrie, thank you. We're going into this now?
Make a new bylaw block, there's only 2 pages
Yeah,
left,
let's
and
do
we're
the
done now with
correspondence.
the main
That's
package.
over. We've been-
Unless you don't.
No, that's fine.
Oh, I missed. Oh, I had a note here, Chris. You were gonna talk about the signs.
Yeah, I'll bring it
You were
up.
gonna talk to Ross.
Yeah. I was gonna bring it up in number 4.
Okay.
Okay, so Jerry, you've got the correspondence.
All in favor?
Everything comes up.
Something else breaking?
Oh, and then you had this report on the picnic table from, but that, from Lindsay, which is just read it, I guess, for information.
Yeah, that was
Just an
just to
FYI.
bring that up, because Regional Park, we're not, I mean, we're working with them, but the lady wants to sue somebody. We're really at this point even unsure of where this person was. So we're working together with Regional Park.
Now, we're in for the audit, I guess?
Lindsay, do you want to stay for the audit?
No, I'll probably leave. I just wanted to pipe in about the picnic tables.
Yeah,
Um,
please.
We've removed 5 picnic tables from Wellington that we found that had some damage to them that aren't repairable. And then there's one at Main Beach we removed too, so, we'll have to look for next year and maybe through the winter here, either us building or getting some new picnic tables made up. So, just so everyone knows.
Were the
We'll
picnic
have to
tables,
look at getting some new picnic tables.
were they just old, or there's
Yeah, just old.
definite damage?
No, they're just old, rotten legs. They're getting rotten boards on top, and you peel them off, and the board that they were screwed to below were rotten right out too. So, yeah, they just had it.
Okay.
Okay, have a good night.
Thanks.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Yeah.
Cover.
Well, we would have found out. when we
You would have
turned
found
over.
out real quick.
Can I be excused for this?
Yeah, right.
You know what, there's no.
Nice try.
I went through really, really quick, I mean, at this point in time, it's still, I don't know. But there is stuff that needs to be signed. And you need to know what you're signing.
I've got a big question. Is the rec board in this report? I can't seem to find it.
Well, because, and this is going back how they used to do it about 8 years ago, and I'm not, it is what it is. So they put you in, and they take you out.
No, but I send in my paper on my books,
Okay, yeah,
and they audited. But last year, I thought it was,
it's consolidated, and it did read through because it does mention the record and the consolidation. All the consolidation, I believe, is removed, so you need to
I'll
just read.
still read through it.
I'll try to point that out as we
Yeah.
kind of go through this. So of course, it's management's
I'm
responsibility.
Colleen Pepperman,
Where do we start?
Well, I just kind of started at the beginning, and I'm gonna go,
and so is Lori Vista, still on council.
because she was in 2019. This is
Yeah.
2019, this is 2020.
Mhm.
So that's why,
See, we've got all of us in.
no, I don't think so. It started here. Oh, this is my scribble one. So actually- You do, if you go down. Everybody turn to consolidated financial statements. That's
Oh, there,
where-
okay.
That's the
Yeah,
number
page
part.
number.
Well, it's just,
It's its own page,
about 5
page
pages
one.
in there.
Management
You got it.
responsibilities, that one?
No, because those are
Oh, here
reports
you
that
go.
they're obligated to
Okay.
to put in. But right now, we're gonna look at the numbers, because that's what I kind of
Take
went
us through
through.
this, Deb.
Well, it's gonna be really, let's look if I can on here, it is organized.
Page 5.
What page are you on there?
I
We start about
am,
page 4, I'm guessing then,
yep, you got
eh?
it.
Okay.
So that, and there's really nothing, I mean, these are consolidated statement of financial position. Okay, and they restated 2018 because of the drive-in, they didn't like the way Cogent was doing. That is no debt, I guess, it was a lease with no interest, and that's how it's been reported. But when we were talking, they determined that they're not comfortable with that, so they wanted to report the drive-in dealing a little bit differently. So with that, 2018 needed to be restated. And I mean, I could go back to 2018 and figure out what the difference is, but I'm not, because it's beyond really what I can do, I think. So page 4, you can see 2018 restated 11,736 is their accumulated surplus. So now we're gonna start having amortization on the drive-in, there's gonna be some value there and some depreciation because we own. It'll also be a good way to see what's left, right? Because it is gonna be listed in our debt, on our debt sheet, which I've kind of flagged, so we'll get there. And I mean, 2019, now with 2018 restated, our accumulated surplus is 11,661. I mean, we're staying pretty steady. If we saw something that was a real big difference, I'd have to be calling Michael and say, hey, you've restated 2018, but now what have you done? Like, this has created a huge difference. I'd want to know why. But when it's close, I don't think I need to. The rest of this, we got page 5. I don't really have any notes on any of these because it looks to be relatively similar to 2018 that was restated.
Yeah, just start.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to go through it?
Oh, I did. I read everything, and I do
Yeah.
have notes here
Okay.
that, just, I don't have notes on every page, because that would be, we'd be here forever.
Mhm.
If you go to page 8, you got reporting entity. Chris, listen, this is for you. The consolidated financial statements consolidate the assets, liabilities, and flow of resources of the municipality.
1A.
The entity is comprised of all of the organizations that are owned or controlled by the municipality. They are accountable to council for the administration of their financial affairs. Entities included are Manitoba Beach Rec Board. All inter-organizational transactions and balances have been eliminated. So does that answer your question? That's what they
So
do with,
we're-
yeah.
I'm clear as far as I'm concerned, then
Clear of what?
my reporting is fine.
I guess so. I don't,
If there's
have they
any-
talked to you? Because they don't talk to me, to you. You send
No.
in your
I
separate
haven't
entity.
I haven't heard a word.
Yeah,
That's
so
the part that surprises me.
I don't know, you might want to follow up with them then, because we don't have,
It says
like
they're
they're
eliminated.
it's been eliminated.
Well,
What
that's, I'm reading that everything's kosher.
I think so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did anyone have
No,
to change anything?
that's sort of like a neutral comment there.
Yeah.
Mhm, it is, and that's.
They just put
how
it
they
in
used to
another
do it,
file.
Rather than you
Yeah.
having your own.
Yeah.
So follow up with them if you're
Yeah.
wondering, it's not for me to follow up with the
Yeah.
organization,
Yeah.
it's for you.
Okay.
And here, there's a lot of other notes here,
Okay.
and I'm just going
What
to,
pages are we on now?
I'm going to page 14.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, because the consolidated, that's, your annual, typically that's what, they'll do a consolidated financial statement, that's what goes in the paper. Nobody can really understand it, and I like all the cash and the debt in this. This is what I'm gonna hone in on right now, because we don't have time to go through absolutely everything. So page 14, your long-term debt, okay, debenture debt of 304,000, that's your lagoon expansion. The loan matures in 2024 for that. The second debenture is 426,000. That loan matures in 2026. That is the first firm, the flood prevention debenture. So there's our debt amounts there. Long-term debt on page 15 is a bank loan, because we really don't do debentures anymore. It's kind of an old-fashioned way of doing it, but we do still have two outstanding. Bank loan of 459,000 is for our lift station upgrade. So that matures in 2028. And next bank loan, 859,000, and that was berm 2. So that's kind of a listing of, well, at least we're comfortably making our payments.
With the lift station
There's some
upgrade.
things. So then from there, what has been added is the drive-in, so that if you drop your eyes down, other loan of 177,000 is repayable to a private individual in monthly interest-free payments, and that loan matures in 2024. That is the drive-in. So he's listing it as,
Although all
Yeah.
these numbers are slightly lower because we're into August of 2020 already. This is
oh,
the end of
absolutely,
19.
this is 2019.
Yeah,
It's 2019 as
we
of
are over
December 31st.
200,000 paid in the drive-in by now. You and I talked about it.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
we're
Like this
204.
is,
Yeah.
this is, you have to remember December
Okay.
2019.
Yeah,
That's what's
Good
been
point.
going on.
Yeah. So everything, we're working in the right direction.
Mhm. So there is, your debt schedule. Now with that debt, and I'm a little confused about this, to be honest.
what page are you on now?
Well, I'm just flipping now because these
18?
were, yeah, I just don't know how much.
Just to ask again, the debenture debt of the first 304, that first one was the water treatment plant?
No, that's all done, that's lagoon expansion.
That's the lagoon,
So
okay.
our
We finished
lagoon-
that other one, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, all our water is done.
Lagoon in the first
We
one.
just got 2 berms, the station and the lagoon, and then the drive-in. I forget what I was gonna say.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I forget quite easily. I don't recall. Oh, I remember, and I don't quite understand this. So you are permitted to have your debt for a municipality is no more than what you can repay, or what your levy is for the next year. Okay, that's kind of what the formula is. And if you're going over that, you need approval to borrow. And we've been well over that for some time, and it's needed approval from municipal government for every debenture and loan that we've got. Now with the drive-in, because it's listed as a debt, the auditor is saying that we need to apply to the government for approval of that or to restate our debt limits.
Okay,
I
so
don't-
they could restate it, say an extra $120,000.
Well, they don't really tell you your new debt limit is this. No, they just go, yeah, you can borrow that. So I was a little confused. We have that same, the money hasn't changed any.
It's just a
The
formality.
reporting hasn't
Yeah.
changed. I don't know if it's necessary. It's not even a formality because we haven't borrowed anything.
So if you do nothing,
Yeah, but you've signed a loan or signed an agreement to pay. It's still a,
But we pay like everything
He's
else.
essentially the bank. That's the only difference.
yeah.
Mhm.
You know,
So
it's however you look
so
at it.
it's still debt.
Sure.
So it needs to
Except
be,
that the other, how long have we done this for? 6 years?
No,
Yeah, that hasn't changed. It's still debt.
but it's just one accountant saying differently from. another.
Absolutely, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. But,
Yeah.
I mean, already municipal,
I mean, it's a slightly different debt, because the water plant, you can't get out of the debt. You could walk from that debt, but you would lose your asset, right? I mean, it's a little different than infrastructure debt, right?
we're not permitted to.
You can't walk away from the burn.
We can't do that.
I realize that, but this is a little different. It's like a mortgage, whereas the others are, you can't walk away from your burn.
Anyway,
Yeah, but it's,
the point was, I'm gonna follow up on that because I don't know if we need to have because you'll need to pass a bylaw for that debt.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not sure if that is actually required because they do not change our debt limit. That is not something
No.
that's done.
No.
No, they don't change the debt limit to, oh, no,
but we also have an
Raise it up
asset
there.
now.
we had an asset before.
Yeah.
That hadn't changed.
the original offer to purchase and that sort of thing might cover that all.
So do nothing,
I-
The
As
bylaw
I
that
was
we
saying,
originally had, yes, that's what it said.
do nothing, and in 5 years it'll go away.
That's true. It's nice
That's
to know when
when
it's
it paid
done,
up.
2024.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna follow up on it because I'm just not sure the details and just why. 'Cause I don't
Okay.
think that's quite right from past loans and debts. I mean, this is just all,
Yep.
this is your operating revenue, right? And this is kind of in your general government services. I can go through that.
What
Western
What
Ag-
page are you on now?
20. Western Economic Diversification. Is that one of your community grant things? Yeah, it's not really
Doesn't sound-
familiar to me though
Doesn't
either.
sound-
In 2019, I think last year.
Western Economic Diversification, 51,000. No, it's not, that we wouldn't have any dollars like that.
Wasn't 51 about the size of that sign or not? Wasn't that in the 50,000 road? Looks nice. Well, the Lumen sign thing?
Oh, no.
That's something different. Okay.
Oh,
Was that
about
the,
the blue signs?
the screen addition to the hall?
well, it wasn't Western Economic, it was Heritage Canada. Why would they call it Western Economic Diversification?
I don't know. It's not familiar to me and the number doesn't make any sense to me. So
Well,
I'm
that's
just
about what
asking
that
you.
sign was, wasn't it? Was it around the 50?
Well, it was, 50,000, but also that, the hall was also included in
Right.
that,
Yeah.
as well. So, yeah,
Well, I have nothing to
Could
fall
be.
back on.
It's
I'm
gotta
just
be
saying,
that.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not sure. But if we look at our budget and our actual numbers, they're pretty good. Total operating, air segmented revenue, 286,000 is what we
you're on page,
did for
Still
revenue.
on 20.
Budget was 233,000. So I mean, our budget, we stayed fairly well in line with what we said we would do. So we're still on revenue. I'm on page 22 now. I know there's a whole lot of blanks. It's just, but here under transportation services, our revenue was 46,000. We budgeted 40,000.
I suppose.
Page 23, planning and development. Brought in 11,000. Our budget was 8,000. I'm just rounding everything, by the way. Recreational cultural services. We brought in 85,000, but our budget was 56. Now, some of that may have been government, and I'm thinking some of it might have been
Maybe
from your
donations.
things. Not donations, I think it was probably grant stuff. Because if
Okay.
I don't know exactly what's going on, it's just something comes in, Charlene receipts it, and it's like, what is this for? We
Yeah.
don't know. So I
What's that?
kind of need to have everything all together at the
Yeah.
beginning.
Conditional grants, 26,000.
Mhm. So we were a little bit out of there, but we didn't budget that. So it makes me think there was some extra money coming in from somewhere and
Yeah.
we don't get extra money.
Yeah.
Utility services, brought in 787,000, we budgeted 767, so,
So it's paying for itself anyway.
well, Yeah,
There's not that.
Like we're
Other
doing
than the
okay,
asset depreciation probably,
yeah, and that's,
like what it costs to pump the water is one
Which
thing,
is-
but to fix it.
yeah, and these are operating, so it's your expense, your operating expenses, the difference in that amortization. The revenue by function overall, we said our revenue would be 787,000 and our total revenue is 767, so.
It's the other way
The
around.
other way around.
Other way around, right? Yeah,
The budget was 767, our actual was 787.
Yeah. it's 20 grand.
Yeah, so that's not too bad, considering, I mean, we've got lots going on, then expenses, same thing.
Yeah, I don't see any numbers that are.
Like they're
far apart.
fairly close,
Yeah.
we've been kind of, total transportation services, well, there's about a $30,000, but I'm gonna guess that was some repairs, because we've been doing nothing but repairs in our equipment for a while.
It shows up more as wages and benefits.
Well, your wages and benefits are always gonna be, because your budget, is going to be, how does that work? Because you match, as the employer, you match,
Mhm.
okay? And when we're doing their salary,
Mhm.
instead of me figuring out all their paychecks for the entire year so we can do a budget,
Mhm.
their remittance is included in their salary, right? But it's
Yeah.
moved when they pay it. So there'll always be a difference there, just because it's double. It'll always be like that unless I sit down and figure out everybody's paycheck, and then their salary is actually gonna be their net in the budget rather than their gross, because you don't wanna overstate that portion twice. So in your budget, it was accounted for, it was just accounted for in a different line.
And all of these different areas, planning and transportation, all that, we're taking a percentage of the wages and benefits that has been established for some period of time, if I'm not mistaken.
We've been doing that for 13 years, absolutely, yes. Amortization, you can see where my budget, and I go by the previous, that's kind of, it goes down over time, the amortization, and it's on page 26. And every category will have amortization. But it's always a bit of a guess for me to do the amortization, so that's a little bit high, it's a non-cash item. So I don't really know what else. What says, this goes. This I was kind of wondering, maybe somebody else can answer it for me. Page 28, Schedule 4, this is your consolidated schedule and segment disclosure by function. Okay, so our net deficit is $75,000, and that was for 2019. And then page 29 is actually the same schedule for comparison, which is 2018. And the deficit is 493,000. So I'm wondering, I mean, that's a huge difference, and I'm almost wondering if that's restating the drive-in.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that, I thought, well, that should be similar, nothing
Numbers
changed.
should add up for that, right?
That's kind of what I think. I haven't had a chance to talk to them about it because I really wanted to talk to Pascal and do a lot of other stuff, but I suspect that that's what that is. And somebody else has another idea. And something tangible capital assets by object, I mean, that's always our accumulated,
What page are you on, 30?
yeah, page 30, yeah. That's awesome, just wanted to get our 400 and some thousand, here we go, amortization taken for, December 2019 is 454,000. So that kind of stays about the same each year, but now we would have added the drive-in, and that amortization will raise that total amount, because I think I was thinking it was about 418,000 by now. And
So we got, net value for vehicles is 103,000 red in the red.
and your machinery and
They
equipment.
haven't got a lot of use value anymore.
Well, they're
Well,
liability.
and now they
Exactly.
really don't have any. It's just, it's
So
dropping
yeah,
like,
at the repair value.
More than I know. I would make a down payment on it. That's true.
okay, so that's kind of all that. And then it's got page 34, you've got your schedule council remuneration, here's how it's listed there. Reimbursement
Which page?
and remuneration.
34.
34. It's just the renewal.
And then there's 35, I think you must have thrown this in, it must be, because they changed the format of the report now. So this, the scheduled restructuring, I suspect that this is maybe when an organized hamlet is becoming a reserve village, or perhaps a village is amalgamating into an RM, there's a restructure, and that's something that's coming, and so I don't know why we have this. It has a zero value, but
Okay,
Yeah, I know. I'm a lot of things. Me too.
that's a
so
good
then, there are some reports that you need to approve the financial statements, right? So then you've also got the adjusting, I think you've got all the other adjusting journal entries. Those are the ones I have him do always for me, because I've never been able to do it quite right. Or we do it differently, I guess is the point. I do it and then he moves it all over and I end up having to move it to go with
Where
what
do
he
we have
says.
that?
I don't think we have that.
Oh, you should have.
Is it this?
Where do
Is
we
that
have
what you're talking about?
It's right here. Isn't that the
Oh,
first
is that
page
back?
there?
Page.
It's right
Oh,
there.
was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
we all have it.
Okay,
Back to the front there now.
there we go, adjusting journal. Yeah.
Then the management representation letter. So this is talking about their obligation, your obligation. And obligation meaning, they've done what they're supposed to be doing, they've done what they've been hired to do. Management's responsibility. So those are forms that will need to be signed. I don't want to put this in with the scribble copy here.
Yeah.
And then you've got,
Started.
yeah, and then you're, well, kind of, because you still have, report to council, audit strategy and results.
Okay,
That'll be towards the back, right?
management responsibility.
And this will be, and this is kind of, approved, adjusting journal. I'm just looking for, because we need to have these. Oh, here's what I'm looking for. Yeah,
Okay.
They've decided that
They're only
the
writing
company's
what they
ability
do.
to continue as a going concern and have
Yeah, we're
concluded
okay.
that no such
Actually, it's
events or
different.
conditions are evident.
Yeah, yeah.
well, they have a section with COVID-19 as well, so there's a section there. I suppose in some cases that some businesses, it might affect them, right? Could be, doesn't really affect us. Fraud, there was here, and they were lack of segregation of duties on page, it doesn't have any page, other matters.
Yep.
Uncorrected misstatements, so we don't have any, we're all zero, so that's good. But the lack of segregation of duties, they're concerned, and this has always been a concern in a smaller staff. And we've talked about it to the other auditors as well. So segregation is me. I have access to all the money. I have access to all the books, because who else is gonna do all of the books? Now, some of our processes within office is receiving. Charlene does predominantly all the receiving. When it comes in, she receipts it. So therefore, she would never do a deposit. The person doing the receipting should never, ever be the only person doing the deposit. That's what that segregation is.
Yep.
I'm not really sure what to do about the rest of it, because
small office.
Well, I
Yeah.
read the Municipalities Act, and that is my responsibility, right? I don't really know what to do about it. If you read through these, and you all have your copies, some of the things they had said, recommend that the council consider introducing new controls to improve their oversight of the functions of the administrator. Such controls could include reviewing the bank rec or reviewing journal entries on a monthly basis. However, this is 2019. I was in the hospital for the majority of it. You didn't get monthly bank recs. You got them later. And I hadn't really thought about it until I was reading through that. Because 2020, we're back on track. You get your monthly
Yeah. we can-
reports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I suspect that maybe is what that is.
Yeah.
But you certainly can talk to them if there's something else. I don't know.
I tried doing some of this checking of, like your accounts payable and that sort of stuff, but I found it very difficult to follow the way it was set up, and it's the way that you have it. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that it was extremely difficult for me to cross-check and that sort of stuff
What were you cross-checking?
as to the payment and the receipt and, that sort of stuff, the invoice, and the like.
Yeah,
You went through our checks.
Yeah,
so that
Yeah.
the invoice matched the
But
checks.
yeah.
Yeah,
But it's also part of the thing is to check to see whether is John Jones the correct person, or is it somebody that potential
But
of
if you're
fraud.
checking through our checks, it's
I
there.
know, yeah,
It'd be quite cumbersome,
yeah,
for sure, but I mean, we have everything, I keep everything, and it's all right there, come and look all you like,
oh, I know.
right?
Yeah,
But it is,
yeah,
and
no.
it's all numerical,
Yeah.
essentially, and now that we're doing more and more, even in the bank rec, we had hardly any checks outstanding, it was kind of weird. We
Yeah.
haven't had that, but any of your online payments are set up in the exact same way. So they're filed the
They're-
same way, and
yeah.
they're here, so
Yeah.
you can look at, okay, that's SAS Power, look at that, there's the payment, there you go. So everything is matched always, and council has a right to come and look.
Yeah.
Now, if you say, please give me an annual report of the entire SAS Energy, I'm probably gonna go,
Yeah.
come and look all you like.
Yeah.
But we only have so much time
Yeah.
during the day.
Yeah, no, totally agree.
So that, I wanted to point that, and this is the draft management representation letter. This is the same letter that you started with, where he's saying, we did this, and we followed these policies, and it's what you hired us to do.
all right.
So with that then, I just need to, because the format's a little bit different, so the signature to be approved, draft only, no signature fee, so approve the draft audited statements. Reviewed only draft report to council, we went through that. To be signed, client rep letter, that's for me to review and sign. Adjusting journal entries for me to review and sign, and those will be things like, if you look at it, we're setting up the drive-in now as an amortization and an asset. There's also all the annual amortization, I never make those entries, and all the closing entries moving forward next year. Management's responsibility page to be signed, and that would be for you, and their bill, you haven't seen the bill. It's 78, I think.
Gonna say
is what it
grand.
was. No, 70, I'm sure it was 78 something. So yeah, so that is our,
Okay,
Well, do we carry more debt percentage wise than an average community?
well, it's not a percentage, it's not like a private business where the bank will lend you up to 22% of.
Yeah, I realize that,
It's not
but I
like
mean,
that. It's tied to your taxes,
yes,
right?
your
So
ability to pay it.
Well, but you can't borrow more than, and it's very close to what your annual taxes
That would make
levy would
sense,
be
yeah.
to next year,
She's only-
not including
To-
any of your abatements or anything
It's only
like that.
700,000.
I don't know, it's more than that. Our taxes are more than 700.
No, but
No, that would be our tax levy.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, we've never, I know, so
So
we've
two debentures.
had approved approval for all of our borrowing.
Yeah.
Up until now, which surprises me that the drive-in, he's suggesting that. 'Cause, and, I mean, if that was a big thing, I'm sure Courtney would have said, hey, you guys, come on. Because the money hasn't changed anyway. We're still paying it. It's still on the books. He knows where it's going,
Yeah.
right? Anyway.
Well, and I understand it's a little different. You could sell it and there,
Yeah,
you'd have your money back. You can't sell a berm. You can't sell a lagoon, right? You-
yeah,
But my question, I guess, isn't percentage wise. Every town has debt. They've got water plants and treatment plants and upgrades and roads and lagoons, et cetera. The cities have millions of dollars in debts and all kinds of.
I think the key is to be manageable. Like we make all of our annual payments quite easily. Like, I mean, our financial statements prove that we're in
Yeah.
good shape, right? I mean, we don't even have to pass a bylaw at the beginning of the year so that we can pay the power bill,
Yeah.
right? And that we used to, I remember Bobby doing that every year. And it was like, we've got a good handle on stuff. And it's not uncommon, probably lots do that.
Our mill
And
rate
some
is
of it
high.
comes off.
Our mill rate is high, but we had 2 burns too.
well,
Sure.
that's just it, we're,
That's the two major.
So where nobody else has
And a
that
lift
kind of debt.
station.
I mean, they've got lagoons, some lift stations
Yeah.
and stuff, but of course, we don't operate a swimming pool either, so that's.
Yeah, but to compare what ours are to somebody else, I guess you'd have to call another resort village and see where they stood, and they probably would tell us.
Yeah, they would, but to what gain though?
Yeah, I don't know.
We
That's-
know.
But to
what
each-
interest
each
rate-
Each has their
Question.
own circumstances,
That's
right?
right.
And it's based on their population, et cetera, et
Yeah.
cetera. You're small enough in a resort, you don't have a sewage system, you gotta have, your own septics, because there's only 200 of you, right?
That's
Or
right,
100,
yeah.
Well, you're the only one with an account in Mexico, is it? Or-
Potentially, yeah. It's not much of an account.
All right.
63
I'll
bucks.
Cayman Islands.
move on to council discussion.
So what do we want to do with the statements though? Do you want them brought back next or, I mean, you won't be here to approve them?
Well, I think it's just basically now that you get the draft approved, and then it's processed for them to bring back the financial statements. Is that not?
No, well, when you're approved, it's approved.
Okay.
Okay,
Like that, it's,
And it's the 2019.
well, I think we need to get it.
I
think we should.
As council.
Do it.
Yeah,
well, I
yeah.
can't even close
Yeah,
that
no,
year
let's-
yet. I mean,
yeah.
that is still open.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Let's get that.
Whose motion? Whose turn?
I'm looking, want to, get this right number. And
I think they-
Larry, it's,
So,
Wow.
so that we approve the draft audited statement, is
yeah,
that
that's
basically?
all it is.
Okay, all in favor?
Yeah.
Carried then, thanks.
I mean, if you really think, if we didn't have berms, for example, because that's something that's totally out of the ordinary for most communities.
Mhm.
10
Didn't
million
have those
bucks.
berms, you think of that money that's thrown back into your community for,
We could add our other sewer line and a lift station.
or whatever it is that you want, right?
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah, 'cause
down
that
to,
would be
Or
100
hills.
and-
We got 3 lift stations and only 3, yeah.
or equipment that needs upgrading.
Yeah,
yes,
that
Or
happens. No, that's just,
improvements at your beach, you've got money to do it.
Yeah.
That's what we're faced with, without gouging people any more than we are for their taxes.
it is what it is, yeah. Okay, you said,
all right. So, council discussions, Larry.
Well, I guess this is the last hurrah. So fortunately, we have had actually very good caring staff, and I just wanted to note that, at least one counselor appreciated it, that, I know Bev's had her challenges because it's a small office, so pretty quick, when a husband and wife are mad at each other, it lasts for a little while. So that's not very good. But Bev has survived and risen above all the kind of the petty little things that become quite onerous on the job and with very limited staff. So I appreciate that. I also appreciate, we had trouble with Foreman. We started with Keith. We had,
Fraser?
oh yeah, we
Lori.
had Fraser, Lori. We had Brian, and now we have someone with you know, decent credentials and seems to have a good head, so that's gonna make life a lot easier, and I know there were conflicts that result sometimes when the foreman and the CAO don't always operate as a team, and so, I think we've got the right model, and I think that's working well. You know, we've had Brian, who's been a dedicated employee, the other folks are been good, and even our summer help has been damn decent, you know, in terms of what they put out. So we've been fortunate, I think, but it doesn't happen by accident. It happens through bad, and it happens through the mayor in terms of the appreciation, you know, and sending out those kind of little things. Hey, you did a good job. So thank you, folks. And of course, best wishes to the new council, which is obviously they're going to have fun. And I did appreciate the town hall on Saturday for those of you that.
Oh, the conversations,
Yeah, they were, you know, I know that there's lots of arguments and the things they talked about, we've talked about many times and there's reasons for. It doesn't mean it shouldn't be revisited.
Oh, yeah.
So, I also I'd like to thank the fellow councillors. I know I've been irritating once in a while, but I haven't tried to emmellify my position in terms of a fiscal gain. I've just tried to do the job that I think we should try to do in terms of the ideology that it is. And thank you for the privilege of serving. It's just been a treat, actually, for 11 years, and so hopefully you guys carry on.
2 4-years and a 3-year you did.
Yeah.
Chris, what about you? 2 4-years?
2 4s. So he gets a full pension. I get a little bit extra. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Nothing other than really, I've enjoyed it. To begin with, I didn't know, how I felt about it. I think just because I simply didn't know protocol, didn't know how these kinds of meetings operate and run them. And now I feel quite differently about it, quite comfortable. So, I've enjoyed doing it, and I hope I get the opportunity for 4 more years. And anyway, it's been a pleasure working with all of you, so, yeah.
Okay.
Chris?
More or less the same comments. I mean, the 8 years has gone by awfully quick. I've got a couple of questions, or comments. The marina sign, I haven't had a chance to get a meeting yet with Ross. He sent me an email or a text saying, you want to go out in the lake? This was on a Friday afternoon, and I sent back half an hour later saying, yeah, love to. That was the last I heard for 6 days. Never got my text until 2 or 3 days ago. So anyway, we're going to get together and talk about the sign and stuff. I think it's a matter of consolidating a bunch of stuff on that rather than having 2 or 3 signs.
Yeah.
Just try and consolidate it down. Kevin Quinlan's been in the village, and he's repaired the guitar player that took a ride around the parking lot. So he's fixed that up. He's also put a cowboy hat on him. And he's had discussion with Danceland and wondering about potentially moving the player down to Danceland.
Yeah.
And I think that's a
Good idea.
good idea.
Yeah.
So if that's okay, what we'll do is we'll get with council. What we'll do is once he's ready, we'll get it moved down to some spot that's acceptable for Millie and the artist. So that I'm wondering about the status of the Crawford agreement and also the Hayhurst agreement. Nothing's been said about that.
Well, you just signed the Hayhurst agreement, so here's that part, thanks Ben.
Okay.
On his email.
Okay.
And Bert
So is it-
Crawford we're waiting, is in Pauline Sink's hands right now. So
Okay.
she's doing up the final paperwork,
Okay.
and he needs to come down, but I guess he was in Friday. He knows he's off, I think, and he's making a sign.
He's still very connected to it, I think.
Could be,
Yeah.
could.
Well, but I also
Anyways.
think he's appreciated how busy it is now.
Yeah.
Because when I was painting earlier this year, he'd stopped by while I was there and just felt that why isn't this thing running? And I explained what was going on, COVID, et cetera. And you want to know who I was, and that didn't help. Are you from here? And, well, yeah, about 20 years. But anyways. And I said, it will be up and running. I think that was his big thing is you can't let this die. You know?
Still kind of his baby, you know.
It
Well,
still
sure.
is. And
I mean,
that's why
it's
he wants to
65
be
years. Did he
involved
start
all
it?
the time.
No, his dad, I think, did.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
their family.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's,
I think his dad started the
Theater first.
theater
Yeah.
and then moved out to the
Yeah.
drive.
I
so
think there
that's
was a
since
part- And I
1955.
think there was a partnership at one time too, and then it was sold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah, one
Yeah.
took the dry cleaners and he took the drive-in or something.
Or some,
Laundromat, something like
yeah, I'm not even sure how that went.
No, I think, that's good. It's just there was no update on that, so
No,
super.
because it's in Pauline's, and it'll be a little bit, because I've touched base with her and she's dealing
Yeah.
with some other real estate stuff.
And I've
so
appreciated the
She'll come
time.
back to us.
We've gone loggerheads at times, Bev, but we have survived.
Of course. Obviously a survivor. People haven't killed me yet.
Appreciate you putting up with me.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Do we get any numbers on the BHP grant? Did we get it?
No,
What was the question?
no
The
word.
BHP grant?
I haven't
We
heard
haven't heard
because
anything?
supposedly they have the money in the account, so it's just a matter of cutting the check.
Yeah,
and-
estimate.
and-
And it would be going to,
It will be going to the rec board.
that's what, yeah, because
Okay,
Mary
I
thought it
didn't
would
know
come
who
to
it
us.
doesn't
and
come
I
to.
didn't
Yeah, the
think
rec
it
board is
should be.
applied for it, so.
But we were probably in that priority, secret, of course, but we were about number 4, so. it was-
Okay. And you had asked last meeting about stones to block the access up to the top of the hill. I had a phone call from a resident the other,
Another car.
again, that there was cars sitting up in the hill by the Iron Man.
If that can be brought up to
We
Lindsay.
need to block that road.
Block it
Yeah,
off,
we should
yeah.
be reporting that to the RCMP as well, so that they're aware. I'm not saying don't
Mhm,
block it,
yeah,
of course
yeah.
block it, but if they don't hear these things, they just think everything is fine.
Mhm.
So if you get, tell
well,
them.
and if they notice
report
the
it
car
to
up there, they
RCMP.
could call the cops, whoever that is.
Well,
'Cause
that's
that's the
The
time to
bottom
catch them
line
in
was
the act.
that there's a road up there, that's why wouldn't somebody drive
That's,
up there?
that's the problem.
It's our responsibility, yeah, we had it blocked before, so I'm not sure why.
But the bottom line is, it's an
Mhm.
off-road vehicle, they're not on the road, call the RCMP and
Yeah,
let
we
them know this stuff is going on.
I will tell
Otherwise,
the
we just
resident
think
that.
it's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good enough. Yeah, and as far as I'm concerned, I've just got my feet wet, so we'll just see how things go next week.
Good luck to the
and
three
go
of you
from there.
next week.
Yes, thank you,
Okay.
that's good,
Me?
yeah.
Well, I would like to, I can be so brave as on behalf of the entire village, thank Chris and Larry for your many years of service. You guys have been very dedicated and done a pretty terrific job. So for your 19 combined years, thank you for that.
Yeah,
And,
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And to Boppy and Doug, good luck this weekend, you guys.
yeah,
And onwards and upwards, and we'll see what happens Sunday morning. We'll,
You'll know Saturday, I don't get to leave until we.
yeah,
mhm.
I guess you
You
email
can
or
just kind of wander
where
by.
we,
I post
post-
on the front door.
Mhm.
Keep that
I've had a
before we
few-
hear.
Candidates have asked about, attending the count, so that's totally
Yes,
in the
they-
rights, right?
Of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
it's not a
okay.
public forum. I
Yeah.
talked to Vince about this, because all of a
Okay.
sudden they think all their friends and family can come.
Oh.
No.
It's
No,
usually
no.
one person.
It's just
It is
themselves,
them,
or-
or they need to appoint someone.
Yeah.
So, and at the appoint, there's a form, there's a reason.
Yeah.
Like you have to do it right. You can't just show up and go, oh yeah, I'm just here to watch.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, no, no. But what I told Vince, and you can
Mhm.
share with the rest, we're counting here, obviously, and we could have the potential of 7 more people along
That's
with us.
Yeah.
That's too many people in here.
Mhm.
But it is what it is. We're gonna be segregated in counting here. There's gonna be a gallery for our candidates or their,
I
people
won't
they
be there,
appoint.
so I'll tell you
I
that
won't
up
be
front.
either.
I won't attend that.
But they can, and I told Vince, that's too tight, you're not gonna have 6 feet. So wear masks. It's not mandatory. I
Mhm.
suggest you would, but I am keeping our staff separated, right? So
Yeah.
they can do what however they want, that there will be an area. I just haven't quite figured out how.
How's
I've got all day
Turn the
to
table.
sort that out.
Mhm.
Well, and I've got to set it up differently for the writing, so I'll figure it out. I mean, never not have it figured out.
So do you have many, pre-balance or mail-in balance? Any?
43.
Oh, that's not bad.
What is usually the total vote count? Like, is it 200?
I looked back,
What a big number is it?
no, it's not, and I always
Just
find
too
that so
bad.
amazing, because I buy 600
Still.
ballots is what I do, because there's 513 curb stops.
Yeah.
And in theory, all of that you could all have spouses,
Yeah.
which would be 1,020.
Yeah.
So like, what if you ran out of ballots? But I've done 600 each time, and I always have plenty to count after to ballots.
Yeah.
That would be, I expected more actually mail-in ballots this year, because there is such a,
I tell people that anybody here locally can come and get it as well, at their convenience. They
Yeah.
don't have to be away you don't have to live in
Yeah.
Edmonton to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But if it's new to you, you don't know that, right? You assume
Yeah.
that
it's
it's,
just such a nice, easy way, especially with
Oh.
COVID,
Mhm.
yeah,
right?
you
Like
can
if
pop
you-
in and fill it out right then and there and be done.
Yeah, it's just.
All right,
Okey dokey.
well, I guess we can adjourn it. Oh, man, 7:15. How's that for a final meeting for you guys?
We've audited all the financials too, look at you.
When we get efficient, we get efficient. It's too late for, too bad we're going now.
And we're off.
We're done.
Anyway, and I appreciate everybody,
I will be.
when I made that
I know.
suggestion that, it's